Hey everyone, welcome back to Patriot Ridge Farm. So I am still amazed at the work the pigs have done here. It's a muddy mess here. Oh my goodness. We got a storm last night, lasted all night long, and it dumped some significant amounts of rain here. But they've actually not only rooted up the vegetation and eaten it down, they've literally changed the landscape through here. So all the pigs are out of this paddock now. They're over there in that one. Another almost 3 acres of woods and stuff for them. And that's where the feeder is. I haven't filled that feeder in, well, today be the third day. And I just got the last female moved off of here over there to where she can get access to the feeder. Now this down here, that's an old cast iron claw tub. And that white pipe there you see, that's where the spring used to come out of the hill and dumped into that bathtub. And that bathtub's been there for 80 plus years, easily, if not longer. What I used to do is I took that old piece of gas line that I had right there, and I would pipe it off of that tub and run it right down over there. And right down here is just a flat rock face to where all that water ran down through there. And it had a pretty good ditch there, so I piped it to keep it from running through there and just let it fall over the rock face and then down off the hill there. So I got to get that out of there, get all this stuff cleaned up. My big thing is coming in here and overseeding later. I can't do it now, even though it's like 50 some degrees today. We still got too much cold weather ahead of us for me to come in and overseed this, but I'm really looking forward to getting started on it and get this place regrowing. Now these paddocks, so there's 6 pigs left to do, and these paddocks will rest for a minimum of a year before I even put pigs back on it again. And that'll give them time to recover, get good root structure in the soil with everything that I overseed, and try to clear out a little bit more area by hand that they didn't do as pigs, but they've done a phenomenal job as pigs. Now my future plans is to take my middle field here and figure out a design for rotational grazing. Now when I fence this field in this year, I'll start right here off this corner post, and I'll run right up alongside the road, up and around, and then I'll have to cut me a path through the woods down there where the woods go over the hill, and run it out along there, back along the back tree line, into the tree line here, and back across and meet up to that other post right there in the corner. Sorry, I blurred out there with my finger. But I need to figure out a good rotational grazing pattern for in here. I can't do like a wagon, well I could do a wagon wheel, but it would be, I think it'd be more difficult. So if I go over here in this clump of trees right over here, that could be like their little home base. And there'll be a shelter and a waterer there, and then just kind of go this way with my rotational grazing all the way across and down into the woods on the other side. And then of course I can come in and seed behind them, let them trample it into the ground for a day or two, and then move them to the next grazing section. But it's hard to stand here and look at this and figure out the pattern that I want to do, because I can't do a wagon wheel. Those honey locusts right there in the middle would actually prevent me from doing that. I know, yeah, get a chainsaw and cut them out. It's easier said than done with the amount of spikes that's on them daggone things. And if you don't know what honey locust is, they're wretched trees. And once you start cutting them down, once they hit the ground, you do not want to bring rubber tires out here. Not for any time in the foreseeable future, because those things will go through the bottom of your boot. They'll go right through a pair of jeans, into your skin, and they'll go right through a tire. So that'll be a future, get the dozer running again, and then drag them out of here with that, and either make firewood out of it, or even posts from any straight sections that I can find, and just have to knock the thorns off of it. But you can see here, this is in desperate need of pigs. And there's a draw comes up through here, and it's seasonal, it just runoff is what it is. and it's deep. Even on this more shallow up section up here, it's still deep. And as you get farther down, it's daggone near straight up and down on both sides. So I'd have to kind of follow that down and around and then tie into my back fence over there where I'm going to run right at the tree line. Now this is all, why would I even be thinking about this kind of stuff right now? Because we have no plans to bring any new pigs on the farm. Probably at the earliest, I would bring maybe a young gilt here in fall. But I'm even debating that because I've been looking at the breeds. Now the old spots are very old breed, they're heritage breed obviously. They're a lard pig. They're great up to 300 pounds. Anything over 300, and they got a lot of good back fat on them even at 300 pounds. But anything over 300 pounds, and the butcher reminded me of this Saturday when we took the other pig down there, is he said, Mike, you know anything over 300 pounds is a waste of money. And I said, yeah, well, there's 200 plus pounds of wasted money in each one of these pigs. But you can't let them go hungry. I can't just leave them to their own devices in the woods because there's really nothing for them to eat unless they just started rooting everything up and eating roots, but that's not going to sustain them. Even feeding them once a day at this stage of the disruption that they've caused in these paddocks, they're going to do a lot more damage down there rooting for additional nutrition. So I'm just going to keep them on the continuous feeder as we process through them. There's 6 of them left. There's 5 of the grow outs, and then there's Peppa, and she'll be the last one. So I still got time to plan ahead. But a Berkshire is good meat genetics. And I think if we mix the Berkshire and the old spot, we should get some pretty decent pigs up to 250 to 300 pounds, nothing more, nothing past that. And the butcher bought property over at Mountain. It's only like 2.5 miles away from here by the road travel. But he bought property there, and they're going to get started on their house as soon as weather permits. And then he's going to build a new facility there where he's going to have, a kill floor, a nice big storefront and everything. So I figure by the time, if we do get a gilt and raise her up to breeding age, and I think by the time that she would farrow and we would raise pigs, he'll have that place built and ready for us. Now I got to figure out a design out here for a corral so I can bring a trailer up through here, back it into there, load the pigs on, because after this batch, unless I absolutely have to, all the pigs are going to the butcher. All of them are going to the butcher for killing and everything, because it's not that I don't enjoy it. It's a lot of work, and there's only usually 2 of us, 3 at best, and it takes a while to get a pig done because we don't scald, we skin. And you're fighting this mud, and this time of year, I mean, this is essentially what we're going to see until the rain stop, until we get into probably early summer. So unless I want to go spend the money on and pour a humongous giant concrete pad in one of these pens up here where I got the feed, I'm going to contend with mud no matter what I do. And I mean, it's that deep right now. So it's not fun, because like this Saturday it's supposed to rain all day. I'm waiting to hear back from the butcher to see if we do one Sunday because of the rain, if we can bring it down Sunday and hang it in this cooler. I don't see where there'd be an issue, but it's his place, so I have to go with whatever he says. We're gonna kill that pig, stick him, pick him up out of there, take him over to where we do the processing, the butchering, and we're going to have to stand there for 15 minutes and hose the mud off that pig and ourselves. So you have to be realistic at looking in the future if you're going to raise animals and do, at least the killing part on farm. Even taking it to a butcher, you got to have a clean, semi-dry space where you're not over your ankles in mud and contending with that all the time. All right, so Berkshire it is. When, I haven't decided yet. Fencing comes next. That's the big thing. All right, Saturday, I turned on the sprinkler in the greenhouse and I let it run for about 2 hours. And then Sunday, it was 65 degrees and sunny. So Sunday afternoon, I went in there and I cut all the cover crop down, put the sprinkler back on for an hour, and then I covered it up with tarps. Now it'll have to compost for 6 weeks. Hi, Caramel. You gonna squeak for everybody? She's a squeaker for sure, aren't you? Scratch your back. Scratch that back, huh? Is that good stuff for the pig? Is that good stuff? Huh? And this is why I love this breed. They're so docile, they're so friendly, and you build a relationship with each one of them. Every one of them's different, and she's a good girl. All of them are good pigs, and it makes it hard to do the duty, but it'll be done. And I knew that when we got them, that's going to be the thing that we're going to do with them. But it doesn't make it any easier nonetheless. Maybe when I'm sitting there eating a pork chop or some sausage or some pork tenderloin or some bacon, I might feel a little less guilty about it. But anyways, so yeah, so once the composting is done in the greenhouse, I got to measure out where my beds. I think we're going to do like 4-foot wide soil beds, and I need to leave 18 inches in between each bed for a walkway. They need to be at least 18 inches off the baseboard, off the walls for a walkway. And I think I'm going to leave about 2 feet at each end. So we'll have 44 feet of beds, 4 feet wide, and I think we can get 4 of them in there. I'm going to say hi to everybody. Domino. She's a squeaker too. Is that good stuff? She's the last one that just came back in. That's why we call her Domino. She's got 3 dots on her left hip. Hi, fat boy. Is that good? Yeah. So fat boy is our pig. This is the one that he's going in our freezer. Me and him has a pretty good relationship. I like him a lot, and I've already picked him. Ain't that right, buddy? And it's just mud. You can't do anything about this mud. It's just mud. At least there's a good hard pan underneath of what they're in right now. And I've tried to kick some of that stuff out of there and get it to drain. It's just a slop hole, but they only come in here to eat. They spend the rest of the time in the woods where it's not near as muddy. And I hate to leave them even have that in there, but realistically, to put that dang thing in the woods and then carry each individual bag of feed down there to put feed in that big sucker, I'm just going to end up with a big mud hole in the woods. Just leave it here. This is sacrifice area. When they're all gone, I'll pull that feeder out of here. I'll pick his stuff up, clean stuff up, get that old shelter out of here. I keep doing this backwards. Get that old shelter out of here, and then I'll come in and till that. And then I'll overseed it and I'll let it grow. And that's the same way with this area here. This is going to be the farrowing pen. I've just got Coke in here. There she is down over the hill there. That way, I got to go backwards when I have the camera turned this way. So I've got her here just because of the shelter. And when the good weather comes, I'll close the gate, till this, reseed it, and be done. But so anyways, back to the greenhouse, planting our beds. We've already got our seeds started. Everything that we're growing is heirloom. Almost everything that we're growing is from seeds that we've grown previously. And I just ordered 2 different heirloom heirloom plants that I want to grow. One of them is called a Moon and Stars melon. It's a very old breed, very hardy, good disease resistance, and good pest resistance. And then the other thing I ordered was called a Crenshaw melon, and it's a cantaloupe, but it's an old cantaloupe. Doesn't look exactly the same, almost looks like some kind of a squash, but they say that they're phenomenal. So we're going to try those. And I want to use both sides of the greenhouse. So once we get everything planted inside, I'll just walk out here and show you. Put you on pause for a minute because it's still good ways. Oh, almost there. But as I walk by the chicken house here, I got rid of all my egg layers. They're all gone. The only thing I have is 8 roosters. 9 technically, but Rambo, the one Niederrheiner rooster, he's staying here. I've got 8 roosters that somebody's interested in. They want all 8 of them. They can have them. I'm done with having all the chickens that we had. The Delaware broilers, I know this is going to be blasphemy to some people, I did not like that bird. Did not like that bird at all. Heavy feed consumption. Even out here in the yard, in 150-foot fenced in area, you know, with electric netting, where they could get out there and scratch and forage and stuff, they were still going through massive amounts of feed. So of course for the winter I put them all in a coop together. I kept the other roosters separate. They went through 40 pounds of feed every 7 days. My fault because I kept a continuous feeder out there for them, but they were just tearing the feed up. So never had chickens eat that much feed. Well, meat birds, yes, not egg layers. So they all got sold. They all went down the road. And I've got 3 new breeds coming on. We had Rhode Island Reds before, so I ordered some Rhode Island Reds. All the birds that I ordered we've had before, and I know they're very feed efficient, and I know that they're good egg layers. So we got Rhode Island Reds, we got Black Australorps, and we got Silver Laced Wyandottes. And I love all 3 of those breeds. I think they're great chickens. And then I may get 5 more chicks, and I'm just kind of waiting until I get rid of these other roosters and I can get things straightened around to work, because I'm going to brood my new egg layers out there, and I'm also going to brood my meat birds out there. So what are they called? Sapphire gems. My wife and kids absolutely love those chickens. They think they're the cutest thing out there. Hey, they lay eggs, I don't care. We'll get some sapphire gems. Anyways, we're here at the greenhouse. All right, so I watered the hell out of it Saturday. I mowed it down Sunday, watered it again, and these are those billboard vinyl tarps, and we spread them out in here and letting the grass start to compost down. So from Sunday to now, it's not doing a whole lot, but it'll work. There's still a difference in temperature from in there to out here. Keep that closed. But it'll take at least 6 weeks for that to compost down, so I'm not worried about it. And then, so on this side of the greenhouse, we're going to put a couple rows of raised beds through here and grow some other stuff out here. We're going to plant a bunch of flowers, like a bunch of wildflower, like a wildflower mix and stuff. We'll do a lot of this bank in wildflowers, and then come around to the side, because that'll bring pollinators in. And bee balm is one of my absolute favorite. I love bee balm, so that's going to be in the mix. But just a bunch of wildflowers all through here, so I don't have to come over and mow it. And as we come around the back side here, I'll eventually bring some gravel in here and gravel this area out too. But this little bank right here, that hay's taking forever to compost. This area up here, I'll probably do all my melons and my Crenshaw, my Moon and Stars melons and my Crenshaw melons. I'll do a lot of those through here, and I'll do a bunch of squash. I want to make use of as much of this up through here as I can. It's less that I have to mow, which is a plus, but the even bigger plus side of that is more food grown in our own soil. May even do a raised bed or 2 or 3 down through here, but I got some water staying in here, so I may need to put a drain through here and then cut it the corner and take it where it's running here. You can see it, because I don't want to just gravel that and leave it at that. So I may put a French drain through here and run it right out through there, and that way we don't set in puddles of water like that. But make good use of the land, especially the stuff that's harder to mow. I mean, my little Kubota, I mow this no problem, but it's kind of steep, and if the ground's even the slightest bit wet, all you do is spin and tear the ground up. It's 4-wheel drive, I mean, it'll come right up it, but you spin a lot, you tear the ground up, and I don't want that. I want good solid cover on here. I want to use as much of this space as I can. Matter of fact, I'm probably going to do a few apple trees right over here. Do a couple apple trees right along through there. Cut this nasty crap out here. Almost said a wordy dirt. These trees here, they're just vine riddled. I'll cut them out, and then we'll plant some apple trees right along through here. I've got apple trees over there that are in pots, that have been in pots for 2 years, and they're big pots, but they're ready to be transplanted this year. And those are apples from I'll just refer to them as heritage apple trees. They're old apple trees, like old apple trees, not the pretty, bright red shiny or bright green shiny. Old apple trees with great apples on them that were probably 60, 70 years old. My wife grew up eating off of some of these trees. I mean, you know those old apple trees you drive by along the road. And typically along farms, you just see those old scraggly old apple trees are just loaded with apples. And they look like hell, but they taste like heaven. So I've got a bunch of those over there, and I'm going to plant some of those. I've also got some pawpaw and some persimmon that I want to get planted as well. And just make use. This whole side of my yard, I want to use and grow on it and make it useful rather than just more grass that I have to mow. So it'll take a little bit of work, but really, honestly, the end result is food. Walk out here, pick an apple, pick a melon, pick a tomato, pick some peppers, pick some green beans, everything. I don't have to go to Walmart. I don't have to go to a grocery store. This is my grocery store. And that is the key thing, because a big part of the thing, what I'm doing for healing, is I'm eating clean. Everything is organic. It's locally sourced. It's grass-fed and finished beef. All the meat has to be like grass-fed and finished if it is a ruminant type animal. Well, even the pigs, they're not ruminants, but still. Everything's going to be clean, and that's how it's going to stay. Now, kids aren't happy about a lot of this stuff because we've changed their diet with ours, and we're just letting them finish up what's in the house, but they're going to be clean eaters before too much longer. So I got a little bit of protest from that. But hey, I'm the daddy. That's just how it goes. But anyways, so the composting process, like I said, 6 weeks. We'll see where it ends up. I'll have to get some 2x12s and build a frame. And once we get our measurements and figure out where each one of our beds are going to be, I'll take that 2x12. It'll be 4 foot wide, 8 foot long. I'll figure it out, set it in place, fill it full of soil, pick the frame up, move it forward, set it down, fill it full of soil, and just repeat that process to build my soil beds, because obviously those tarps are going to come out of there. But just build my soil beds 4 feet wide, about 44 feet long, cut off right, about 2 foot mark in. That way I've got room on each end, and then a walkway between each one, and then at least 18 inches off the inside of this baseboard. So to recap, no pigs for a while. Once these pigs are gone, infrastructure has to come in place and get done before we bring another pig on and mix genetics to start raising more pigs. Once Peppa's gone, if Boris and Coke end up getting together, whatever she ends up farrowing, I'll sell off as weaned pigs. Wieners. I'll sell them off as feeder pigs. And just keep that process going. And then we'll think about bringing on a new Hampshire gilt, or a Berkshire gilt, not a Hampshire, bringing on a new Berkshire gilt and getting her to breeding age, mixing her with Boris, and see what we end up with out of that. By that time, all the rotational grazing will be set up, all the fencing will be done, for the most part, for the pigs at least, and then we can move forward to finish up the rest of the fencing and stuff that we need to finish up. Greenhouse composting has started. Seeds are growing inside. Well, they were planted inside, and we hope, like I said, soil temperature hits 70 degrees, we're planting. That's it. Health update. Oh, by the way, good stuff. So I got the results of my blood work back, some really pretty concerning numbers. Turns out I am pre-diabetic, not there yet. Fasting insulin was high, which determines your insulin resistance. So yeah, I know I've got insulin resistance. I just didn't know the actual numbers. So fasting insulin levels are high, which indicates insulin resistance, hence why my A1C is up as well. And inflammatory markers are all high. Adrenals are poorly functioning, need to address them. And what else? There was something else. Oh, ferritin. The ferritin level in my blood was really high, like way higher than what it should have been. And ferritin is a type of iron, and it won't show up on just an iron test in a standard like chemistry panel that they would do in a doctor's office or hospital. They specifically picked out ferritin, and it's really, really high. So I need to go donate some blood. It's almost like a form of hemochromatosis. If you don't know what that is, Google it. It's almost like a form of hemochromatosis, but we can get it fixed with what I'm doing now and the supplements and stuff that I'm on. And giving blood, donating blood is one of the ways to bring it down quicker. So I'm gonna have to donate some blood here soon. And then I think I've lost like 6 pounds. I am feeling better. I'm not having near the gut issues that I was before. Dropped 6 pounds. Joints are less achy. Everything seems to be slowly improving. As I advance through the dietary changes and the eliminations and stuff like that, I've had since like January 27th. I think it was January 27th. It was a Sunday when I started. And it's a progressive. So like the first week, you minimize a lot of the bad stuff. And then the second week, you just eliminate it. And I just started on day 1. I eliminated everything. I haven't had a cup of coffee. I haven't had tea. I haven't had pop. I've had 0 caffeine whatsoever. The only thing I've had for almost 10 days now is water. Water. That's all I've had. And then what I'm eating, everything is clean. Any of the produce and stuff that I'm eating is organic. All the meat that I'm eating is pasture raised or grass-fed, grass-finished. And I don't expect an overnight sensation here. I'm 53 years old. I've done the damage over that length of time, so it's going to take time to resolve everything. But everything on the other side of it is positive, and I don't have a bad thing to say about it. I'm not hungry. I'm not starving. I'm not going without taste. 0 sugar, 0 artificial sweeteners, 0 natural sweeteners, 0 sweeteners, nothing. And it's amazing. I mean, when I quit coffee and pop, I had a very mild headache for about 2 days, and that was it. I don't crave it. I don't want it. I know what I'm doing here. I'm stubborn and dedicated enough to follow through with it, and I'm going to do it, and that's just going to be it. So anyways, health update on the plus side. Moving towards healing, moving towards better life, moving towards a better living, period. But I'll keep you guys updated on how this goes. All right, in the meantime, like I always say, hit that thumbs up button. Please hit that thumbs up button. If you've been here this daggone long, hit that daggone thumbs up button. Get this video in rotation, get our channel in rotation. Just hit that thumbs up button. It's not that hard, just point, click. Okay. Get and stay prepared. Stay free. God bless y'all.